Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to bring you some really exciting news. For the past few days I've been trying to capture a video of Venus, Mars, and Nibiru all in one so that way you could see these three objects are completely separate. Not only did I capture some video, I also captured some images to show you the color differences between the multiple objects, seeing as we also talk about Nibiru's moons. A few suggestions that came through in the comments were, of course, trying to disprove that it wasn't Nibiru, which I completely understand. I'm not against that at all. But I do want you guys to know that I did look into what other planet possibilities it could be. The 5 brightest planets are actually the visible planets that you can see with the naked eye: Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Neptune is visible, but it's very dim and it's almost impossible to really pick out. And then here's the visibility of the planets. All the image and videos you're going to see today were taken between February 6th and February 16th of 2017 between the hours of 7 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and Uranus. These are the planets that are going to be visible. Uranus actually isn't considered a visible planet because you can't see it with the naked eye. Saturn, Jupiter, those are going to show up in the morning. So the hours that we're looking at definitely cannot be either of those planets, leaving Mars and Venus. Those are the only 2 planets that are going to be visible to us during the evening times. And here's what they have to say about Uranus. Uranus is just visible to the naked eye when at its brightest, but only when seen from dark, non-light polluted skies. Observers in city or town locations will probably have difficulty seeing it without an optical aid. It is the most distant planet visible to the naked eye. Uranus appears star-like through binoculars and as a small blue-green disk in telescopes. A star map is normally required to find it. Pretty safe to say that the object that we can all see shining very bright is definitely not Uranus, which is the only other planet according to the scale we just looked at that is visible during this time in the evening. Okay guys, the first video I'm going to show you was taken on February 12th, and this is a video of Venus. Sometimes you'll see that the star planet thing likes to flicker a lot, so it actually makes it a little difficult for the camera to auto zoom on it. This is Venus. It's the twinkling star. It is pretty bright. This is Mars. This is the planet Nibiru. I know taking the video kind of sucks because you guys have to take my word for it that I panned over from Venus to Mars and then over to Nibiru. I mean, obviously they do look different. So what I did do is I took some still pictures of each of the objects, and most of these are going to be pictures from the 12th, 15th, and 16th of February. So this first one I thought was pretty cool. This little guy in the middle, I think that's actually an airplane, so don't get excited. I don't think it's like the space station or anything. This blue dot you can see centered here is a picture of Venus, and that's what Venus looks like. It's pretty blue. This picture is very distorted because, again, when you're taking a picture with all that wind, it kind of knocks it off and it creates these streaks. I still think it looks pretty neat. Again, distorted, but a picture of Venus taken on February 12th. This one is a little bit clearer. Again, I put real Venus. This was taken February 16th, so that was this evening. This is a picture of real Mars. You can see that it's definitely a different color. It's orange. And that's about as zoomed in as I can get on Mars. Again, this is a real picture of Mars. Now, this picture is a little bit closer and a little bit better Venus. As you can see, it is very bright. This one's a little less distorted. This picture is of Nibiru's moon, that bright one that you see right next to the star. If I take the camera away from Nibiru, I'm actually able to see more of the moons because that specific star is very bright, and I think it actually drowns out instead of allowing the light to reflect off of. And that could be for many different reasons. But this top moon here, that's the bright one we see typically to the northwest. And then this one down here is in between. So with the brighter star, Nibiru, blocked out, it's clear that there is two objects or two moons that are around it. This picture is a more panned out view. When Nibiru is not in sight of the camera, you can clearly see those two there. You might even be able to see these others up here. Let's see if they are moons. This is a very convincing image. When you lower the contrast, it kind of brings out the orange, which in my mind signifies planet. We already know that the two bright spots at a diagonal here are two moons, or at least should be. The one in the upper corner, which let me zoom in here, also appears to be as well. These two whiter, smaller characters in the background probably are stars. I would not want to jump to assumptions on these two, but it wouldn't take much to convince me that they were moons. This oranger one up here, though, probably is a landmass. And the way it's also reflecting is pretty bright, too. And it does appear that this one is reflecting equivalently to these two at the top. So it very well could be. This one does look like a star. You can see the fine point of light there. So let's go back here. You can kind of see a fine point of light there too, though. A little bit broader, one's more fine. Let me know what you think on this one, guys. I don't know. I definitely think the two are moons because of their orange color, and then we know the one that was diagonal to this one in the center was also, because we could see that in the other picture. This is Nibiru. It again is a little bit distorted. Nibiru, real Mars. Those two in color look pretty similar. Real Venus. So this is a distorted picture of Nibiru, and to the very bottom, one of the moons appears as I change the contrast. You can see it down at the bottom, it's just dull. But let's go ahead and zoom in here. This quite possibly could be one of the moons of Nibiru, just on the lower half of it. This picture was taken on 2/15, so it was the day before. It must mean that this is one of the moons in rotation. This image I captured on February 12th, and I think it's one of the most beautiful pictures that I have taken of Nibiru and its moon. The star is just shining so perfectly. It has like 6 points on it. It's absolutely beautiful. And then in it, there's also her moon. So on this picture, when we change the contrast, another moon comes into view northeast of the moon that we're typically used to seeing. Let's go through a few different color schemes here. In fact, that might be another moon up at the top. Here, let me see if I can draw a picture around it. Well, it's quite possible that this is a picture of Nibiru with 3 of her moons, but definitely there's 2 of them there. This is another beautiful image of the 6 points that comes off of this star. I mean, I just absolutely love that. I think it looks like a flower. It's so beautiful. Let's go ahead and change. Oh wow, that looks like a flower too. Now it looks like Venus. So guys, before I go, I always save like one of my most favorite pictures for last. And of course I showed you one of the pictures I found the most beautiful, but this is probably one of the cooler pictures I got. I tried to hold the tripod as steady as possible and get the most zoomed in picture of this moon I could. Though unfortunately it is a little bit fuzzy, but thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this update on the bright object in the sky, and I hope this definitely convinces you that it definitely isn't Venus, because Venus is a different color anyways. It's definitely not Jupiter or Saturn, because those aren't visible until the morning. And any of the other planets that it could be wouldn't have moons, nor would we be able to see some of the other planets. So the only possible option is Nibiru, or a Nibiru-like planet. So if you don't want to call it Nibiru, fine. You can call it Planet X, you can call it whatever you want. But it's definitely not Venus, guys. That I'm 100% sure of now. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys stay tuned in. If you have any comments, any suggestions, please definitely let me know. I love talking with you guys, and I definitely love doing the videos on the universe because it's probably one of my most favorite subjects. Have a good night, guys.